appreciate the National Council for Arts and Culture and for that very descriptive and articulate expression and message. Today is celebrating in Nigeria, www.queennigeria.ng. Yes, every day at appointed times that need appointed release and expression. Using the toilet is not just about your human right, it's about your human dignity. My name is Dio Benjamin Stanley, and this afternoon, today's event is one that is not just local here in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, but is an internationalized global United Nations statement according to the SDG goals 6.1 and 6.2. So you're all welcome. Good morning, and what will extend into the early afternoon. Today, everyone's presence here is part of a national call. In fact, it is an emergency, state of emergency, as far as Nigeria is concerned, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a state of open defecation. This is a statement by the presidency, by His Excellency the President, and all of the executive representation all across the country to make a very deliberate and intentional commitment to ending open defecation in our nation. So you're welcome. Welcome everyone to this day, not just of celebrating, but of creating the right kind and standard of enlightenment and of education with the right balance of humor to get the message across, and across the entire geopolity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You're all welcome, Your Excellencies, all of the distinguished representation here today from the states, from the diplomatic corps, from the National Assembly, from the local government chairmen and their representatives, every one of the presence of development partners, private sector organizations, executive directors, country directors, CEOs, civil society organizations, traditional and religious bodies, trade unions, gentlemen of the press, school children. Today we have one voice of the Nigerian school child that will be speaking to us during the goodwill, the primary 4 school student from Festival Primary School Area 10 Gariki. I'd like to make first mention of any name here by acknowledging and respecting the future of Nigeria and future leadership in this distinguished voice that we'll be hearing today, voice of the Nigerian girl child, Deborah Daniel, from Festival Primary School, Primary 4, Area 10, Gariki. We celebrate and welcome your presence here and all of the representation of your school. Today you have a very distinguished role, being a voice not just of goodwill, but representing a nation of girl children from Nigeria, Africa, and through the globe, speaking for a very necessary now time intervention and change. Once again, acknowledging the person of Deborah Daniel, Primary 4 school student from Festival Primary School, Gariki. Well, with your presence. The Honorable Justice is being revitalized towards the trend ending open defecation in the Federal Republic. All of the actors today that are being gathered here from the states, the local government share intentional toilet campaign. If we want to clean Nigeria and tell them to use the toilet, to keep the toilet clean, you need one thing, the right attitude and single appointed commissioner. And when we have the right attitude, it begins in our. So, I suppose every time you get into a box that you can use, don't just depend for the public toilet that is your private business toilet. Ask someone seated next to you, have you got to use the toilet the next time you presence of the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry. So more, I'd like to acknowledge the Northern Governors Forum, my His Excellency use the toilet. Nigerian marketmen, help me answer. Clean Nigeria. For you, thank you very much. Marketmen way everywhere. Now you are salute to all of you, my mama, my sister. So all hey! I'll go back to the Nigerian police band. The presence I shall honored and very revered partners in this pension and research that has gone into bank, UNICEF, WaterAid, federal ministry together, our state governments and the local governments all together also. Water supply and sanitation executives as well as core members, you are welcome from all over the country. Achieving access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene, paying special attention to the needs of them and over to the Nigeria.
We are taking our history. We are taking our urine, our children, they die.
As repulsive as a state, so that is exactly what they do.
Everybody have to go to nearby the river area. Come go to the river. People who want to come out there and then they will make people go to the river.
It's very difficult for us to in this place alone, the Africa flows into there are rivers and there are channels all around here, and villages already. It's affected the smell, the use, to shit, and any other dirty. But we do
across Nigeria, ranging from diseases to death. Exhibiting severe stunt in child development, a high rate of sanitation facilities in her school to manage her menstrual period. As an alternative, many women and children have fallen victim to delegation rate, with 47 million without access to basic sanitation. Departments and agencies, citizens groups, and non-state actors in Nigeria by 2025 mobilize support and resources at the highest political level to annually
Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, GC. Very much. To be received by our principal host today, Engineer Suleiman H. Nadalu, receiving His Excellency Special Guest of Honor, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President, Vice President, Professor. Also in entourage, all of the presence of the executive governors, Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Water Resources, Mrs. Comfort Carol. Of Water Resources national launch and flag off of Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign. In our own indigenous parlance, as we heard it earlier performed, shitty shitty for outside, no good. Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet. My name is Diana Benjamin. I'd like to welcome everyone to this very deliberate and intentional national action to stop open defecation here in the Federal Republic of Nigeria by 2025. Launched 8 November 2018 by His Excellency, our President, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, as an expression of a very deliberate will to counter, restructure, and recompose that which by the SDGs 6.1 and 6.2 give voice as well as determined action to sanitation and literacy when it comes to public toilet use. You are welcome, and right now I would like to invite his welcome address, the Honourable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Sulaiman H. Adamu. A round of applause, please, as he comes up. Nigerian market women, oye! Please help me celebrate our chief host as he comes up to the podium today, giving representation and championing what is going to stop shitty outside in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Honourable Minister.
Your Excellency, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Abuja, SAM, sitting for His Excellency, President Buhari, Your Excellencies, Governors, in the various states here present, Your Excellencies, Deputy Governors, and representatives of other state governments, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, members of the National Assembly, including the Chairman, House Committee on Water Resources, our Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Water Resources, and other Permanent Secretaries here present, staff, and other senior officials of government, our development partners, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, and Your Excellencies, other distinguished guests, to this epoch event of the national launch and official rollout of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign. Over the years, Nigeria has consistently advanced on the ladder of countries with the highest number of people practicing open defecation. From a distant 6th position globally in 2000, we have maintained the first position in Africa and second position globally since 2013, behind India, who had about 550 million population involved in this act. Through the Swachh Bharat mission, a behavior change campaign, India has been able to move over 500 million people from this practice, with the construction of over 92 million toilets between 2014 and 2019. Current status of water, sanitation, and hygiene services in the country show that only 11% of the population having integrated access to basic water, sanitation, and hygiene services, while 68%, 42%, and 21% have access to water, supply, sanitation, and hygiene services respectively, and an estimated 47 million Nigerians practice open defecation. The practice of open defecation is a norm in many communities due to lack of sanitation facilities. Also, many public places either lack sanitation facilities or have facilities which are not accessible or fit for use. An assessment of the status of the sector in 2017 revealed that the sector is in a critical condition and needs more attention, with a minimum of 3 times investment required to achieve the sustainable development goals for water and sanitation. This assessment led to the development of the National Action Plan for the Revitalization of the Water, Sanitation and Hygiene sector, which was launched by the President on 18th November 2018 with the declaration of a state of emergency in the sector. The objective of the National Action Plan is to ensure that every Nigerian has access to sustainable and safely managed wash services by 2030, in line with SDG 6.1 and 6.2. Prior to this, in 2016, a national roadmap to end open defecation in the country by 2025 was launched, and and the Partnership for Expanded Water Sanitation Hygiene PWASH program, which was designed as a national collaborative instrument for the improvement of access to rural water supply and sanitation in the country, was also rolled out. In view of the stark reality of Nigeria becoming the next global leader in open defecation once India exits the group, we know that it cannot be business as usual in tackling the challenge of open defecation in the country. In February this year, a technical delegation of national and subnational officials and development partners went to India to understudy the Shwar Bharat mission. Their learning was developed into a national program to end open defecation in Nigeria, tagged Clean Nigeria, Use the Toilet campaign, which was approved by the Federal Executive Council in May this year. The campaign is aimed at mobilizing high-level political support, resources, and the entire populace towards building a new culture of safe and sustainable sanitation, and to achieve the target of making Nigeria open defecation-free by 2025. A national secretariat for this program has also been set up by the ministry to coordinate activities across the country. We recognize that the success of this campaign is dependent on strong engagement with states, local government authorities, and other stakeholders to secure the needed political and high-level commitment required to drive the campaign. This is to ensure that the deliberate and sustained attention needed to end open defecation in the country is well in place. We also understand the benefits of collaboration and partnerships within and across sectors for a successful delivery of our goals, and we are strongly committed to this. I would like to appreciate President Muhammad Buhari and Vice President Osinbajo for their keen interest and support to the WASH sector. I recognize the presence of Your Excellencies, honorable members of the National Assembly, development partners, the private sector, civil society organizations, traditional and religious institutions, trade groups, the media, and all well-meaning Nigerians at today's event. This is a strong indication of our collective desire to change the narrative regarding Nigeria's open defecation status and take the country to the next level. I welcome you once again and thank you for your attention.
A round of applause, please, for our host minister. Thank you very much, the host minister, Honorable Minister for Water Resources, Engineer Sulaiman H. Adamu. Fayemi is our Chairman of Governors Forum, and His Excellency the Right Honorable Simon Bakulalong is the Chairman of Northern Governors Forum, here representing the Chairman.
His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by the grace of God, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Your Excellencies, Governors who are here, Your Excellencies, Deputy Governors representing their governors, members of the National Assembly, our Chief Host, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first stand to apologize on behalf of my chairman, Dr. Kaide Fayemi, who is unavoidably absent today. He's already in the US, representing the governors at the Peace Conference. So he asked me to represent him on behalf of all the governors. All of us are here, either in representation or personally. I want to thank especially the federal government for collaborating with the states to champion the campaign against open defecation and sanitation, and also to assure the federal government of the commitment of the state governors to commit funds to train and also engage personnel to tackle open defecation. They say cleanliness is equal to godliness. On behalf of the Governors Forum, I want to assure you again that we remain committed. We'll also do our best, because when you talk of cleanliness, it's not only in the federal capital. I think an exhibit or evidence of it will be at the states and the local governments. We're here to extend that commitment and to assure you, Honorable Minister, that we will do our best to cooperate with you, to collaborate with you. And on behalf of the governors who are here, to thank you very much for this privilege and to thank you for the opportunity given to us. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Another round of applause appreciating His Excellency Right Honorable Simon Makulalong on behalf of the Governors Forum. Commitment, collaboration and cooperation assured from the state government levels all the way through to the local government areas. And now we would like to invite the representative of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please help me welcome Her Excellency, wife of the Executive Governor of Ogun State, Her Excellency Bamidele Abiodun. Round of applause as she comes up as well. Thank you very much. And along with her by extension, once again, we appreciate and acknowledge all of the presence of wives of executive governors, deputy governors, and all their representatives here present at this national launch and flag off Clean Nigeria, Use the Toilet campaign. Excellency, you're welcome.
Your Excellency, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, the Vice President of our Federation, Federal Republic of Nigeria, all executive governors here present, the wives of the executive governors here present and all their representatives, members of the National Assembly, honorable ministers, honorable commissioners, local government chairmen, heads and staff of government agencies and parastatals, development partners, World Bank, UNICEF, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council, private sector organizations, civil society organizations, traditional and religious bodies, trade unions, gentlemen of the press, school children, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to address this great gathering on behalf of the First Lady, Dr. Mrs. Aisha Buhari, and other First Ladies. The menace of open defecation is an issue that we must all collectively address. This is because the negative impact of this bad practice mostly affects women and children. As First Ladies of our respective states, we will take this task up as our pet projects and lead in the drive to mobilize our people in this mass behavioral change campaign. Making Nigeria open defecation free by 2025 is a task that we must all commit to, and together we can achieve it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Well, she has spoken for Excellency, the First Lady. This is a task we must all commit to, and together we shall achieve it. Noting, of course, the priority call for women, children, and the vulnerable in our national society and communities across the country. We'd now like to invite representative of development partners for this National Action Campaign, the Country Director, World Bank, Shubham Chaudhary. Please let's welcome him as he comes up, and even as he comes up, I'd like to very properly acknowledge once again Country Rep UNICEF, Mr. Peter Hawkins, Mr. Zaid Jurji, Chief of WASH, that is Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Sector, UNICEF, and Country Director for Water Aid, Chichi Okoye. Please, we would like to invite you, sir, to please come up. Thank you. Once again, please help me welcome Mr. Chaudhary.
Nigerians still practice open defecation. This needs to change. If all of Nigeria's children are to grow up to be healthy, intelligent, productive citizens, to help realize Nigeria's full potential, we need to help Nigeria provide adequate sanitation facilities and change the mindsets of millions of Nigerians all over to prevent and eliminate open defecation. Open defecation and the increased risk of fecal contamination that it poses means that children are exposed to a variety of diseases, among them diarrhea, cholera, viral hepatitis, typhoid, and some of these diseases are the ones that are the biggest killers of Nigeria's children. I believe the WHO has said that almost 87,000 children under the age of 5 die due to diarrhea. And 90% of these deaths can be directly attributed to poor water, sanitation, and hygiene. But it doesn't end there, because even if a child survives past the first 5 years, the effects of those childhood diseases, childhood illnesses, puts them at risk of stunting, malnutrition, and all of them pose obstacles, help hinder them in their ability to contribute as productive citizens when they grow up. In addition to these heartbreaking human costs, there are the economic costs of poor sanitation and hygiene, time away from work, the costs of healthcare. Beyond that, there is the risks that open defecation and the lack of sanitation poses to groups that are the most vulnerable, women, girls, children, who are at high risk of gender-based violence, trauma, child abuse as a result of the lack of sanitation facilities. The issue is particularly acute for adolescent girls. I mean, the numbers show that what keeps adolescent girls out of school is often the fact that they do not have adequate sanitation facilities in schools. So all of this can change and will change as a result of this campaign. We're here to help. There's lots to be done. Millions of new facilities have to be constructed. More important, the mindset and behavior of millions of Nigerians at the community level has to change. The policy and regulations and institutions have to be strengthened to support this effort, and of course the financing will be needed. We in the international community, Nigeria's partners in this effort, are here to help. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources, under the stewardship of the Honorable Minister, has taken the lead. Other ministries will need to contribute. It will have to be a whole-of-government effort, and it will have to span both the federal level and the state level. The leadership of the President and the Vice President at the federal level has to be replicated within each and every state. Again, we in the international community, all the international partners, the African Development Bank, USAID, JICA, European Union, Islamic Development Bank, DFID, the French Agency for Development, we're all here to support you in this campaign. If we dream big and we work hand in hand, all hands on deck, Nigeria, the giant of Africa can truly realize its full potential. Thank you.
We can and will achieve the results as spoken by the voice of the international community and technical partners. Another round of applause, please, for Dr. Chaudhry, Tushiban Chaudhry, Country Director, World Bank. Thank you very much indeed. Well, whatever happens, it has to penetrate, and one of the most dynamic ways for this to penetrate and reach and influence, impact, and result in the 2025 mandate will be none other than working with the women who make all the difference. The women in the markets of Nigeria, our ¡1 economic grid. And we now invite President General, Market Women Association, the Honorable Madam Mrs. Felicia Sani OON. Market women, hey! Another round of applause, even as she comes. Mama is always a celebrity wherever she goes, expressing the color, the vivacity and strength of the Nigerian woman, the African woman in the African marketplace, has given Africa its sagacity, because it is the markets, from the women planting in the farms, carrying the yams on their head and children on their backs, that have given definition to our economy.
Good afternoon, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I will be very unfair to my son, Bala Mohammed, if I don't recognize him. The chief host, Adamu, I recognize you. Please let me start on the existing protocol, because long English no go help us today. Market women, oh yeah! Market men! God bless Nigeria. My task is very small. To advise somebody to be clean, is it a crime? Let us try and keep this country clean. Let us struggle. Even I walk up to 10 minutes to this place, so I will not take your time again. Please, please and please and please. Nigeria is a beautiful country. I've traveled far and wide, and see that you can't compare Nigeria to other dirty countries. Please let us collectively join hands together and make Nigeria clean. God bless Nigeria.
Yes, indeed. Mama has spoken. Please let us keep Nigeria clean. It is a beautiful country. Our health and our kin. We have a beautiful nation. We heard Dr. Chaudhry speak earlier about the Indian achievement with the SBM Swachh Bharat mission. From 550 million cases of open defecation in 2014, they have achieved 100 million figure. That statistic tells us it is possible, and it is possible here. Maybe Nigeria can actually beat that record, knowing that we do big things in big ways. Having said that, we would now like at this point to invite His Excellency, our special guest of honor, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo GCON, to give the presidential speech and also conduct the symbolic unveiling of the national campaign logo for Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign. We welcome His Excellency on stage for his speech.
Of government agencies and parastatals, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, development partners, market women, students and stakeholders in the campaign against open defecation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my very special pleasure to join you at this national launch and official rollout of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign under the program to end open defecation in Nigeria. Today's event provides a platform to reiterate our commitment to improving the living standards and quality of life of our people. Access to adequate sanitation and hygiene, known as WASH services, is a critical factor in the socio-economic development of any nation because it's a major contributor to human capital outcomes such as early childhood survival, health, and educational attainment. This administration has consistently affirmed its commitment to the development of the WASH sector in Nigeria. The launch of the National Action Plan for the revitalization of the sector and the declaration of a state of emergency by the President last year was among the many initiatives of government in addressing the challenges confronting the sector. The National Action Plan is phased into emergency, recovery, and revitalization stages. In this emergency phase of the action plan, it's our desire to aggressively mobilize the entire country towards ending the practice of open defecation. There is no need to debate the point that sanitation is a major public health concern and that poor sanitation adversely impacts us all. The World Bank's report on the economic impact of poor sanitation due to unsanitary or shared toilets and open defecation estimates that Nigeria loses over 450 billion annually, with open defecation accounting for about 1/3 of this amount. These costs include healthcare costs, loss of productivity, premature death, poor educational outcomes, amongst others. But perhaps some of the more dire costs of open defecation are those that cannot be quantified in monetary terms. The social costs, loss of dignity, lack of privacy, and the increased vulnerability to physical attacks and violence, especially for women and girls. The target 6.2 of the SDG goals seeks to achieve, I quote, achieve by 2030 access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and to end all open defecation, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations. Meeting this target is expected to contribute significantly to the achievement of other goals. Specifically, it will contribute to Nigeria's achievement of the SDG Goal 3 to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being. Between 2016 and 2019, with the support of our development partners, 14 local government areas have been declared open defecation free of the 774 local government areas in the country. This achievement is a far cry from our target of making Nigeria open defecation free by 2025, according to our national roadmap. So the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign is part of our effort to fast-track our progress and to ensure that we can achieve this goal by 2025. Today, which also marks the United Nations designated World Toilet Day, is an auspicious day to officially roll out the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign. The Clean Nigeria campaign is a national transformative initiative to mobilize the entire nation towards imbibing the culture of safe and sustainable sanitation, especially as we look forward to our 2025 target date. This campaign is also being backed by a presidential executive order, which will give effect to the implementation of the Clean Nigeria campaign. The federal government recognizes the fact that action to end open defecation in Nigeria will require the contribution and commitment of everyone, governments at all levels, civil society, private sector, development partners, traditional and religious leaders, and the entire populace. So households must be mobilized to provide their own sanitation facilities. Government institutions and the private sector should provide sanitation facilities in public places such as schools, healthcare centers, parks, motor parks, markets, etc. in order to realize the total coverage and sustainable access to all of the populace, especially again as we look towards our target date of 2025. Although we know that it is the primary responsibility of state governments to provide water, sanitation, and hygiene services, but the federal government remains committed to supporting the states. Every state initiative will receive as much federal government support as is possible so that we can provide all of these services to the Nigerian people. To this end, states and the Federal Capital Territory should consider common sense policies, common sense measures, such as ensuring that construction sites are equipped with toilet facilities. Property development control regulators can also make it mandatory for buildings to include external toilet facilities for staff such as security guards. These and such other measures will reduce the incidence of public defecation. With 1/3 of the population, 1/3 of the Nigerian population, without access to basic water supply services, and more than half of the population without basic sanitation services, we must all redouble our efforts and work together in order to meet the nation's water supply, sanitation, and hygiene needs. As a nation, we simply cannot afford the huge costs, including fatalities caused by preventable water and sanitation-related diseases, such as result from inadequate water, sanitation, and hygiene services. In contributing to the government's efforts, citizens must also take action to avoid open defecation. I wish to commend the state governments who have already taken several steps and initiatives to develop the state's specific action plan for the wash sector, especially in the past few months. As the President said during the launch of the National Action Plan last year, the federal government's support to states will be based on their commitment to implement the National Wash Action Plan in their respective states and to end open defecation by 2025. It is our expectation that this national launch will trigger state and local governments to launch their own mass mobilization of citizens of their states towards the target dates that have been set. It is now, on this note, my very special pleasure and privilege to formally launch the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign towards an open defecation-free Nigeria. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We have a message from the Nigerian child and Deborah Daniel from Festival Primary School. This is your opportunity with your message for Mr. Vice President and through the Vice President to Mr. President.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, all protocol observed, good morning. When I was told by my teacher that I will read a speech, I said to myself, wow, at last I can speak my mind. I remember the day I stepped on a pool. I asked myself, when and how will this stop? Now look at me reading a speech on open defecation. what is open defecation? Open defecation is a human practice of defecating outside rather than in the toilet. People may choose fields, bushes, forests, ditches, streets, etc. for defecation. Open defecation causes a lot of diseases such as diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, typhoid, internal worm infection, etc. Girls and women suffer most for went into the night go further in the bush to ease themselves, and as a result sometimes they get raped or beaten. How can this be controlled? Let's start by building and maintaining a lot of household and public toilets. Nigeria was rated first in open defecation in the recent research conducted in National Environment Watch. Open defecation is no national decoration. It is a shameful concern. I must say, it is a cancer in the body of our health development. Please, ma'am, please, sir, Mr. President, Minister, everyone, I beg you all, Ejo, Dan Allah, Biko, build toilets to keep Nigeria clean. From the north to the south, keep Nigeria clean. From the east to the west, keep Nigeria clean. Let us also open defecation. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel happy.
She feels happy, Your Excellency. She is your first escort taking you to the unveiling of the logo, and we'd like to respectfully ask for Excellencies, all of the executive governors, the representative of Her Excellency, the First Lady, and Excellency
National Partnerships and friends who are here, also the CEO representatives, to please join. May I invite Dr. Chaudhry and the rest of the representative team here. Thank you. The unveiling right now. Excellencies, governors, Dr. Razak, all of the presence.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my very special privilege and pleasure to officially unveil the logo of the Clean Nigeria End Open Defecation campaign.
The signing of the commitment is taken right there. The register is next to the logo that is about to be unveiled and being unveiled right now as we speak by His Excellency the Vice President, supported by all of the presence of executive governors here this afternoon at the Eagle Square with the flag off and national campaign launch of the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign. The pledge card, we respectfully ask that Your Excellencies there present please sign as an open pledge commitment to what is now activated for national mobilization. This is about our national dignity, embracing our first human rights in the place of appropriate defecation in toilets and facilities that have been provided for such purpose. Congratulating our host, the Honourable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu. The vote of thanks will be taken by the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Comfort Ekaro. I believe she will take it right where she is in the presidential company, the Vice President. Vote of thanks to be taken by the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Karen. She could come up stage. Thank you. Once again, there is the signing of commitment, the plaque, the pledge card is there in the cluster. Welcoming upstage now for vote of thanks, our co-hostess from the Federal Ministry of Water Resources, our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Comfort Ekaro. Congratulations, ma'am.
We acknowledge the presence of everybody here because we know that we are all stakeholders in this business. We recognize the presence of the children that have come all the way from their schools. We appreciate that the fact that the Excellency is here today shows the depth of the government, the commitment that they have put in. That our governors are also here. They're coming here also tells us that they are committed to stop notification in their states for the benefit of our people. I'm here to do a vote of thanks and not to tell us what the dangers of notification we have already heard them. Because they are here, we know that our state on their open notification free status in their local government areas. Our profound gratitude is also the women partners and every other organization that has partnered with us, too numerous for mention. We are grateful. I want to also use this opportunity to thank the committee members. Once again, without taking much of the time, I want to thank you once, twice, a million times. Thank you for coming, and may the Lord take you back safely to your destination. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Once again, appreciating the Permanent Secretary and the National Anthem, please, even as His Excellency shall be departing the venue. Thank you. Please let's put our hands together and celebrate.
Shitty for outside, no toilets. And let's get Nigeria clean and open defecation free by 2020.
Thank you.